How we doing? How we doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening across the world. The channel's back, the show's back, and we've got Arsenal to talk about. It was a crazy weekend as far as football was concerned. There was some mad results this weekend, to be fair, and some unbelievable action and some talking points throughout the Premier League. But of course, we're going to look at yesterday's performance and, of course, the incidents that happened. We're going to be talking officiating, we're going to be talking missed chances, we're going to be talking negatives and positives from yesterday's game. And to do that with myself and Lee is Adrian and Kenny. Adrian, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Hi, everybody. Annoyed, I must admit, about the refereeing in the Premier League, but we'll talk about it. That's why I'm wearing.
We will. We are indeed. Kenny, how are you, mate, in your very nice, clean-looking gaff mansion?
I'm all right. I slept well after. I slept well, and I felt a bit better when Declan Rice apologised, because it actually calmed the waters. You know, it stopped well-meaning fans from trying to protect him from, because at the end of the day, the guy's an absolute pork chop, and he cost the game yesterday. And I'll tell you why during the show. He's a pork chop.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
No need to protect him Declan English. He cost us big time. He was at it, trying to con the referee and trying to get another player set off. And that led, if he didn't do that and try to feign injury, the referee probably would let that go. But if he's going to have to deal with Veltman, he's got to deal with the source of the problem. Declan Rice, absolute pork chop.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Judges, you and I have spoken about this a couple of times where we thought, I'm going to tell you where I was at and where I am at. Now, when you watch it live, not only do you get emotional with it and raw with it, but you don't see the replays. All I saw live, and it was right by me, I sit by the corner flag there at block 5, and it happened right in front of my very eyes, and I thought, bloody hell, Declan Rice just been kicked here by this Veltman. What's going on? Saw the yellow card and thought, fair play, right, let's get on with it. And then I saw him get sent off, and I thought, hey, what's going on here? Maybe he must have told him to F off or something. The ref, what's going on? Was it dissent? Did he kick the ball away? Did he kick the player without me knowing? Have I missed something? What's gone on? And then obviously when you do the fan cams afterwards, when you do the reaction afterwards, you only see little snippets on people sent you on TikTok, Twitter, or whatever it be. Now, I look at this incident, and what annoys me is I'm kind of on the side of what Kenny said, because Declan Rice has come out and said, sorry, it was a yellow card. I was an idiot. I shouldn't have made the referee make the decision. But I'm also looking at the referee and looking at the lack of consistency, thinking, what the hell is going on here? We've seen this weekend, I'm going to put a star up in a minute, looking at other incidents that have happened similarly or worse this weekend that nothing has been done about. So I want to get your thoughts on just this incident, first of all, Lee, now that there's been a lot more emotion taken out on it. And then obviously we've had time to look at it again and look at it without the emotion, because it's very hard coming out of the ground and talking about it without seeing it a few times. So where are you at now? You've had some time to watch it more.
Yeah, listen, you know, you are emotional after the game and raw, and you look for things. But I've looked at it rationally today. I've watched it. I've watched the game. And listen, by the letter of the law, it's a sending off. Okay, by the letter of the law. But he didn't referee the game by the letter of the law. If he had refereed the game by the letter of the law, he would have booked the left back for the foul on Saka in the first minute, but he used common sense and didn't go by the letter of the law. I think then about 4 fouls later, we did book him. So basically, if he'd have gone by the letter of the law, he'd have been sent off before the first half. The incident itself, there was an incident earlier on in the game when the players I think Pedro kicked the ball 40 yards away. The referee showed common sense, not worried about it. And then when the incident happened with Declan Rice, I'm a little bit with Kenny. I thought that it was unnecessary. So what is that noise? Can you hear that noise?
Yeah, it's a bit of an echo. I don't know who's the echo is from. And if we can go on, might be yourself, Just put yourself on mute.
Right, is that bloody hell?
Yeah, that's better.
Kid amateurs, you know. Anyway, so I get it. Declan Rice, I think a little bit of initiation of it all, like, you know, and whatever. But we've all played the game. I know exactly what their player was doing, and it's just a little bit of common sense should have been prevailed in that. Like when I look at it and think, look at the incident with McGinn and Saliba and Ben White. That could have been a booking and all that for a couple of players there, but he just used common sense. So I can't get my head around it when people turn around and go, but it's the letter of the law, when you're not refereeing the game by the letter of the law for the whole game. And that's my beef with it, like, you know what I mean? I just thought it was handbags. I look back and it was silly. Was he stopping a free kick? No, by the rules he weren't, because the ball was still moving. Did he kick it away? Not really. It was just a little bit of petulance. I just don't think it was. What I do agree with Kenny on, like, you know what I mean? When you're on a yellow card, you can't go down any sort of route. You know what I mean? You've got to be like squeaky clean. And I don't think that Declan, when you're on a booking, you do that. I think if I reckon, even if he hadn't been booked at that moment, I honestly believe that he would have not even got booked. I just think it was just one of those. So that's where I'm at it. I've not watched a lot of football today, but I've just seen a few little clips and a few highlights of it, all that. I've seen 2 incidents today of players throwing the ball away. One in the Man United-Liverpool game, right in front of the referee, going down and just kicking it 10, 15 yards away from the play. Nothing. Not a booking or nothing. So it's inconsistency. That's what I'm worried about. Now, I go back to a lot of things, and there's no conspiracy. He just had a howler of a game where Saka gets brought down in the first minute, pulled down by the shirt. That is a booking. That is, by the law, a booking. Thomas Partey, it was right by us as well, Dan, you know what I mean? Didn't really pull him by the shirt, just a little tug. Out come the yellow card. Because why? Letter of the law. So why are you playing with the letter of the law on one team and not the other team? That's my beef with it all. Like, there was 2 incidents where the letter of the law is bookings for Partey, for Declan Rice. Exactly the same incidents for them wasn't used as the letter of the law. So you can go on about whatever you want about it and everything like that. It's just the inconsistency of it for me, like, you know. And it's not just Arsenal. And I've got to say this now. Wolves had 10 times worse decisions than us last season. It's not an Arsenal thing. It's a problem with the whole Premier League. And you'll go on and see other decisions and whatever this season that will be there. But I go back to the Tommy Asu one at Crystal Palace last season. Like, never a booking, but it was. And we get down to another yellow card, you know. And then I look back at, you know, what Howard Webb said. I think this is very, very crucial, what Howard Webb said, because he's opened himself up to a can of worms last season after Arsenal, Manchester City. When he turned around and said, can't really quote what he said, like, he goes, well, he didn't want to spoil the game, so he just let him off a little slightly. I don't know if you remember the incident. He said that on TV, and it's in the record books. As I say, I don't know exactly what he said, but you know where I'm coming from. So why has he said that, and that rule has been applied, and it's not been there? There's an unwritten rule in football. There's an unwritten rule in football, if you played it or not. Like, if you get a booking, the second one's always is going to be a little bit, you know, I've got really no choice whatsoever to give it out. I think he had a choice. I think he had a choice just go, look, you know, I'm not having that, like, you know, have a little word with them, like, you know what I mean? That's stupid. Any more of that and you're in the book and you're off and you that. That's where I come from it all, like, you know. And yes, Declan was a little bit silly. I'm not saying he wasn't, like, but at the end of the day, that's where I take on it, inconsistency. And that's what is the frustration about that incident only. That, you know what I mean? But let's not blame it. Let's not I don't think any of us are going to go here and go, that's cost us 2 points on whatever. Yes, the incident did, but we had plenty of chance. We could have been 2 or 3-0 up in that game, right? And if that incident happens, it wouldn't have been a total disaster or whatever it was. So that's where I stay on it.
Listen, I mean, Aid, I'll come to you because you brought up a brilliant stat sent to me. Concentrating just on this incident, because I want to talk and move it on soon, but I want you and Kenny just to focus just on that incident, not reasons why we lost the game, not reasons why you thought we should have done better, whatever it be, team's tactics, we can talk about that after. But looking at that incident in isolation, This was sent to me by yourself from today's games. Kulusevski, Mark Guehi, Cucurella, Pedro Porro, Joe Linton, who's already on a yellow card, Palmer already on a yellow card, Bruno Gomares already on a yellow card, and Dallo all kicked or threw the ball away to delay the restart. And not single one of them got booked. Letter of the law, though. Hard to argue against that, lads, to be fair. What are you saying on this, Aid?
Well, it's just, I agree that Rice, he shouldn't have done it, but how far's he kicked it? What, a yard? Yard and a half? If you're going by the letter of the law, he's thrown the ball down, the ball's still moving. So by the letter of the law, he's got to bring the free kick back anyway. So it's a difficult one. Look, I'm on a little bit of emotion still about it, but it isn't. I agree with Lee. It's not just an Arsenal thing. I think since VAR's come in, I don't know. I think referees are a little bit scared to, I don't know, make decisions, or they see things differently. I don't know. It's just it ruined the game for us. And for me, it's not a yellow card. Like, I agree with Lee. I was going to bring up the McGinn, Saliba, and Ben White incident as well. Just use your common sense. I think, Lee, I know you went off on one on AFC TV yesterday about he couldn't wait to give it. But I mean, all the Brighton players were going, "Oh, it's a second yellow." But then when you see Pedro, is it Pedro, their forward? Sorry, I can't remember his name. Kick it 60 yards down the pitch, and nothing get done about it. Again, we talk about consistency, but that level, that's poor from the referee, really poor. And the thing is, nothing will get done about it. We talk about managers who come out and they call them out, and they get fined tens, thousands of hundreds of thousands of pounds sometimes when they go over the top in interviews after the game. But will he ref in the Premier League next week? Probably will. Howard Webb surely must go through that incident with him, because okay, letter of the law, it's a sending off, I suppose, but come on. This is football. We've all played it. We've all coached it. We've all been in instances where even we've probably kicked the ball away, league playing. But, if you boot the ball away in frustration, yeah, I get it. But it's barely gone 2 yards. And then let's be honest, he's followed through and kicked Rice in the leg. And he meant to do that, by the way. He didn't do that because he tried to take a quick free kick. So, yeah, everyone will say, sour grapes, Arsenal fan, annoyed because it's 1-1. And, we should still won the game with the chances we had. We've got to touch on that as well, haven't we? But I agree.
You're right. The letter of the law is, or the letter of the law really from that incident is that Declan Rice gets sent off and their player gets sent off as well.
You know what? I agree with that.
That's the letter of the law.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's cost us, but also he's now missing, because you can't appeal 2 yellows, can you? We're now missing the.
That's the issue. We can't now actually say, "Oh, what can we have a look at this again?" The problem I've got as well, and I'll bring Kenny in on this as well, right? Is I understand there's a lot of people saying, "Yeah, fair play. He's given the referee no choice. He's kicked the ball away, etc." But there's a lot of people that are saying that the reason it don't count, coming on to the back of what Adi said, is the ball was still moving. He's tried to walk past the ball. The ball's been thrown into his path and he's just nudged it back. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of inconsistencies to the actual incident itself, not just inconsistencies to what the referee's doing elsewhere and how the officiating is being looked at. So the way I see it is this: he's on a yellow card already. I don't think Declan Rice has been good for Arsenal this season. In fact, I think he's definitely unfit and has actually been one of the worst players that Arsenal have had this season so far, even though he's on the back of this shirt and I love him to pieces. I don't think he's fit and I don't think he's quite right yet. He makes that first tackle. He obviously is late. He normally wins those tackles cleanly. I've not seen him do that, to be honest, in an Arsenal shirt yet. Maybe he's not many times, if at all. And then obviously when he's on that yellow card, you can give potentially the referee that decision. I don't know where you're at in this isolated incident, Kenny, in terms of what the referee is. I mean, all I ask is that you don't bring up the other stuff, because we are going to get into that, mate. But what's your opinion just solely on this incident, mate?
The incident was right. It happened right in front of me. I saw it all. And that's why I'm hard on Declan Rice. I'm not hard on the referee. I'm hard on Declan Rice. The fact is, if Declan Rice wants to waste time, do it in the 90th minute, not in the 49th minute, when we still got 41 minutes to go. and you've already been booked against the same player in the first half. The fact is, he's fouled Veltman. Veltman's trying to take, he's put the ball down for a free kick. Declan Rice is, the referee's getting a free kick. He's not even trying to get 10 yards. He's doodling. Veltman's, like I said, the ball's nudged Declan Rice. Veltman's trying to, kick the ball in order to alert the referee that Declan Rice hasn't gone to 10 yards. Moving ball or not, Declan Rice should be 10 yards. And then when Declan Rice goes down, feigning injury, trying to get the player sent off, the first thing the referee, if Declan Rice didn't do that, all the referee would have done is said, mate, I've booked you already. Come on, let's get on with the game. But when he goes down and the whole crowd are going, off to Veltman, the referee's got to go around and make a decision. So if he goes down and he's got to look at Veltman, he's got to look at what happened before that. Declan Rice not being 10 yards and flicking the ball away. So if the referee is alerted to the Veltman incident where Declan Rice is trying to get him sent off and the crowd are going mad, of course he's going to look at the other incident and he's going to say, well, right, I've got a decision to make on you, Veltman, but I'm going to deal with this one because, yeah, he did break the law. It is, I was probably going to let it go, but because both of you got into that bit of a spat, and, the Arsenal crowd will have sent the Brighton player off. I've got to deal with you. I've got no choice. So he says off. And he actually went to the Brighton players right in front. He went, kick the ball away. I don't know what the issue is. Declan Rice gave the referee a decision to make by going down in a heap and trying to get the crowd on side to get him sent off. Regardless of what you said, I think if Declan Rice didn't get in the way of that free kick and still wasn't the 10 yards, or he didn't go down going, I'm hurt.
He couldn't get out. He couldn't get 10 yards. He couldn't get 10 yards. One, he's kicked the ball towards him. You can't say that.
But Lee, when the free kick's given, what's the first thing you should do? You've got to get 10. You've got to move away and get 10 yards.
Well, he's walking away.
Walking away. Walking away. Get 10 yards. Get 10 yards. You're saying me, but let me tell you. Look at the theme of the match. He already got booked again. He already got booked in an incident. The same player. That referee throughout that first half was giving us nothing. You read the room. Read the referee. Let me tell you something now. I'm going to keep it short because we've got other things to discuss. I'm going to tell you this now. You may not like what I'm going to say. And then all these people saying, oh, Kenny's saying this again. Let me tell you something now. Referees are not onto Arsenal. Last year, it was referees onto Arteta because he was always his shenanigans in the technical area. What was happening? He was always getting yellow cards. Now they're onto us in terms of they're watching Martinelli, they're watching Saka, they're watching Rice, all their players, and they're going to give us nothing. That Phillips game last week where White looked like a hero, referee's going to look at that. I saw it with my own eyes yesterday. The refs gave us nothing. Saka went down in a heap. 2 incidents with Hinshelwood. Referee just blew the whistle for half time, walked off. The same with
it shouldn't be like that.
I know it shouldn't be like that.
He's a professional referee. That's what we're going to continue.
So if we know that this is going to happen, then we've got to box clever. These are experienced players. Declan Rice is experienced. He was a captain West Ham. Come on, don't give the referee ammunition to do that to us.
I get that. I've got to say this in defending the referee because I've seen it. Thomas Partey, by the letter of the law, could have had a second booking towards the end. And he didn't do it. By the letter of the law, he could have sent him off, like, you know what I mean? It was like, a second yellow, and we could have been without Declan Rice and Thomas Partey for that game.
But then there's this as well. Why didn't he Pedro putting the ball 60 yards? Because that's what it was. It weren't a tap, that one. Pedro Neto, not Pedro Neto, João Pedro.
2 weeks' time in the North London derby, get used to it. The remit in North London derby is referee to let tackles go because it's a derby game. So we're going to get nothing then, and we're going to be away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You think it was bad yesterday? Get used to it. We're going to have that all season, mate. Referees have got their beady eyes on certain players. Martinelli yesterday, where he gets thrown into the crowd. Oh, holding my leg. 5 seconds later, he's getting up and running around to go mark. That's what referees are seeing. I'm not I know the referee had a bad game. Yeah, you don't have to tell me that. I'm just saying it, looking from what I saw last week at Aston Villa and what I saw yesterday, we're going to get 0 from referees. So we better get used to it. Get used to it. And Bot's clever. Don't give referees any excuses.
I kind of agree. Like, I think if we're looking at, and I said this earlier on my show, if we're looking at that going, do you know what? Arsenal were world class yesterday. The referee dropped us 10 points. We're looking at the wrong things, guys. Like, let's be real. The referee was shambolically bad. It was horrendously bad. Did we think he was going to be good? Because I didn't. I looked to refereed and I thought, this guy's clueless. Let's hope we don't have to rely on him today. And now we had to.
Yeah,
So now we've got to look at it. And I've got to bring up this point. Like, it does wind me up as well as you guys. I sat there yesterday with Robbie and I sat there with yourself, Lee. I listened to all the fan cams of people going, oh, the referee. I was frustrated the hell with Havertz for missing that chance. I looked at Saka and I thought, God, I love you. You're an unbelievable kid, but you've got to do better. And Martin Odegaard, how many more bloody chances 6 yards out is he going to tap at the keeper or put over the bar? That's my frustration as well as I'm like this. Referee, crap. Our chances, crap. Not one or the other. I'm like this. Both of them pissed me off. So for me, I look at it and I think you have to take your chances in games like that. We shouldn't be walking off going, oh, take a point of that against Brighton at home. Oh, my God, thank God for that. All right, we've got Tottenham away next with half a team. I shouldn't be looking like that. And we are. I'm annoyed by that. The referees have pissed me off, but that's no different. He pissed me off at St James's Park, Villa Park, at Fulham. All these referees' decisions that we've had in the past have pissed me off. When you're looking at the referee, when the first question after a game, guys, is, weren't the referee bad? I look at our performance and go, why does that matter? We should have been 3-0 up. He could have sent Rice off and we could have gone, crikey. Thank God we're 3-0 up and took our chances. Well, it's 3-1 now. We've won the game. Instead, we're going, oh, we missed the chances. Let's not get at the team. Let's blame that bloke. It's that referee who dropped us 10 points. No, it's not. He absolutely made it hard for us, no doubt. I ain't blaming just that, Lee. I ain't blaming just
No. And it's a great point that you make. And I'll tell you where you make it. Like, there was a horrendous decision. Was it on? I can't remember. It was on Havertz last week when he gets throated and everything like that. Like
Wolves. Yeah.
Wolves. Listen, it's a booking and maybe even a sending off. But because we've won that game 2-0, no one talks about it. That incident. It's just human nature. You know what I mean? Like, it was a diabolical decision. The VAR even looked at it. You know what I mean? Like, but because we're winning, we go and we let it go. Yesterday, because what's happened, we ain't going to let it go. And I get it. It's just the way it is. But you're dead right. You're dead right. I think even the Odegaard one yesterday would have been offside. But the point is, he should score that. Like, you know what I mean? He should have scored at Aston Villa last week. Like, And the Kai Havertz one, I've watched that back a few times. It's incredible what he does. The touch, when he gets through, but he's through. He's in front of his man, and he doesn't hit it right, boys. He doesn't hit it right. If look at Haaland yesterday when he goes through. He makes it look simple.
You know it's in, don't you? You know it's in.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's what Havertz is not great at. But I would even go to say that Haaland couldn't have done would not have got into that position. But when he's in that position, bang, bang, it's a go. I don't think he done a lot yesterday, Haaland, what I see of the highlights and all that. But when he's through on goal, bang, 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 and that's the difference. And I've looked back at it, and I think at the end of the day, it's a wonderful ball from Havertz. He should do better, Saka. He really should. I think at the end of the day, I'm going, he was stretching and all that. I'm trying to make excuses for him there. If I'll be really honest, he should have buried that. He should have buried it. He could have even got it, controlled it. I don't know. But listen, we had two fantastic chances down to 10 men yesterday, and we didn't take one of them. And that's the difference. That's the difference between us and them.
Yeah, facts. And unfortunately, we had some missed chances. I mean, Aid, let me come to you. Like, moving away from the referee, because we could be on that all day because it was shambolic. Let's talk about our actual performance, because for me, I actually thought that we were in control. I thought we looked pretty solid. They had their chances, Brighton. It weren't like it was one-way traffic by any means. But and they're a good side, by the way. I actually do rate them. I think they're going to do well this season. But I look at them and I think, yeah, we really should have and could have been 2 or 3 up. And I've kind of heard this before. And the reason I suppose I was so deflated was the result didn't help. The red card didn't help. But I was really looking for a killer to come in the summer window, and we didn't get one. And then when we're missing chances, it kind of sticks the knife in that we haven't got a striker. And when we're missing chances in front of goals, it turns it in my side. And I'm like, I'm really annoyed now. Like, we really should have got someone in front of goal. What did you make of it, bro?
Well, I totally agree. You know, when you're at the top and you're one of the best sides in the league, and you're trying to chase down the best Premier League side that's, you know, 4 or 5 years on the bounce, you know, going for their 5th title, big chances in games where it's difficult. You know, obviously, you know, we talk about big chances in big games, you know, when you're playing City or when you're playing Liverpool. But yesterday, we're down to 10 men and he's through on goal, and it's pressure, isn't it? It's pressure. You either score it or don't. And that's the difference when you've got a Haaland who he's through, you know he's going to score. I mean, like yesterday, he didn't do a lot. I watched the West Ham game yesterday, and West Ham did all right. But you give him a little bit of room, and he scores. And he scores when the pressure's on and when the pressure isn't on. And that's the difference when you've got a forward like that. I mean, he's on what? He's had 2 hat-tricks in 2 weeks. I think he's on 8 goals, is he, in 3 games already? You know, Havertz has scored again, which is great for us. But at the end of the day, it's those fine margins. And we always spoke about it, Lee, didn't we? When we were coaching and playing, it's when you're in these tight games that when you get chances like that, you've got to take them. Because if you don't take them, you either get done at the other end, or, you know, like yesterday, we ended up having a draw when really the game should have been out of sight before the red card anyway. We've not clicked into gear yet. I don't think there's another level that I think we'll go to as the season goes. No, got to remember we're very early on, aren't we? But we've got to finish sides off, especially at home, because we know what sides are going to do when they come to us. They're going to dig in deep. They're going to drop 10 yards and basically say to us, "Come break us down." And the thing is, when we can't break teams down or we're struggling to do that, we will leave gaps around the pitch. And Brighton, they didn't do a lot yesterday, but they got their goal. And by the way, Partey, he should have tracked his man better, shouldn't he? Partey, he kind of stopped. And, you know, if he hasn't stopped...
I couldn't believe that ball went all the way through, I could not believe that ball went all the way through. I was like,
yeah,
wow.
that's what I'm saying. I think, well, when you haven't got your holding midfielder sitting in that hole, and you know, I don't think people realise how important someone who sits in front of that line and screens that line, because they cut those passes out. And because we're down to 10 men and we're still trying to win the game as well. We're not basically sitting back and going, right, we're going to settle for a draw. You know, I know we're trying to hit him on the counter, but when you leave gaps, when you've got a player down, like especially like Declan Rice, you know, because Declan Rice probably would have been in the way of that pass. It's frustrating. It really is. And when you're through one-on-ones, you know, Haaland scores and we don't, and that's what boils down to. And again, it will go down to, like we always been saying, we haven't got that striker who's got that killer instinct, you know. And I just, well, we've got to wait till January now, haven't we, to see if we can get someone. But there ain't many out there. And again, I do think we might come up short because we haven't bought one. It's a big shame.
It is. It's a massive shame. Kenny, I mean, for me, I went on a bit of a rant, a bit of an understatement, kind of exhausted to go on another one now, talking about why we needed a striker this summer. Yesterday, when we missed chances, that was why I was more frustrated than any, if I'm honest with you. Now, I'd appreciate we've got Jesus and Sterling to come back. Hopefully, both of them can stay fit and they'll be brilliant for us and win us the league, right? I just have my doubts. Where was you at yesterday with the way that we played going forward? Did you think we should have done better? And some of the players that you felt stood out for you yesterday, Ken?
Well, first and foremost, in terms of the game, you know, I agree with a lot of what you said about Declan Rice. I think, and I agree with Adrian as well. It's 3 games in, and I think, you know, let's not forget, some of our best players got to the final of the Euros. You know, and some of them played every minute of every game. You know, in those matches, Declan Rice, Saka, you know, Saka got subbed, you know, and didn't play every minute of the Euros, but these are 2 of our main men coming back. It was never going to be a situation where they're going to cook. They're basically on their last legs because of, you know, the way the football calendar is. So no one really stood out. But you've got to give Brighton credit. Brighton had a game plan and they got in amongst us. Remember, we gave them a couple of shallakins last season where they they gave us a lot of space and we exploited them, especially in the counter attack. This time, the midfielders got in amongst us, especially like Minte. You know, even after they lost, Milner. They brought in a younger player in. They got in amongst us, and they played the referee really well. Like a lot of their tackles were very cute, but in another referee would have given them as fouls. So you know they were getting in it, you know, in their space. And two, they played actually quite well. I'm not saying they were a better side, but for the first 37 minutes before we got the goal, it was even. No one really stood out. I thought Martin Odegaard got kicked out of the game. You know, they saw as Martin Odegaard was a creative spark, kicks out of the game. They got into Thomas Partey, and I think Brighton recognised if you stopped Partey and you stopped Martin Odegaard, then that it would have been very, very difficult. And it took, really a mistake from Dunk for us to get that goal. It was a brilliant goal, excellent goal. Then afterwards, in the second half, that's where I thought, I think we'll kick on now. But again, Brighton still played the same tactics, and then Declan Rice happened, and then afterwards, I thought that the manager was negative because I think that by not bringing on, he takes off, attacker, and he brings on defender. What that tells me now that he's going to keep it compact, make sure that we're not outnumbered, and we're going to try and nick it, which is what he did, and he nearly came off because Havertz had a fantastic chance, all made for himself, by the way. It's easy to criticise him, but he was the one who got in front of his marker. He's the one who used that extra bit of pace, and it was really good save by the keeper. But if you're going for the title, you've got to put that one away. And then he was instrumental in that chance for Saka, where again on that right hand side, he was absolutely.
What a ball that was, by the way. What a cross that was.
Saka again has got to put it away. But if you look at the chance involving Havertz in that first half, Saka needs to get there a bit. He needs to get there, a bit earlier to get the rebound. He's too slow reacting. If he reacts when it comes off the Brighton goalkeeper, who knows? He could have put the ball in the net. So you don't just look at Havertz. You look at Saka and think maybe it's the fitness because of the excursions in Europe, and maybe that's why Saka wasn't able to get onto it. But if you look at their goal, everyone talks about Thomas Partey not tracking around, but let's talk about Saliba out of position.
Yeah.
And then you look at Gabriel missing his tackle on Minter, and then the goalkeeper doing his absolute best. But once he makes a save, and get the rebounds when he put in Pedro, who reacts quicker because he's following up the play. So it was 3 mistakes that I saw leading up to the goal. But saying that, we're going to see quite a bit of this because against Tottenham, we're not going to have Declan Rice playing. And we're not going to. Marino's not fit, so we just have to dig in there. We're going to have to dig in there. But in terms of the Tottenham game, we've got to get something out of the Tottenham game, not just because it's because it's Spurs. It's for the morale as well. Because when you go to the Etihad, you want to at least go there and thinking, right, we dropped points against Brighton, but we've gone to our rivals, give them an hiding, go there, chest out, and then see if we can get something on the Etihad. So it's one of those things where I look at this season, I look at the start we have. Well, we're gonna have to, like grin and bear it. We knew we weren't getting a striker. I don't think anyone in this panel thought for 1 minute when the transfer window opened in July that we're getting a striker. I didn't. I saw the amount of money that we paid last season and thought, right, this is all about getting players out the door in order to balance up the books. Another thing as well that shouted to me was if the club really, really wanted a player and really felt they needed a striker, we'd have heard about it. We knew they wanted Calafiori because they never shut up about Calafiori. We knew they wanted Marino because they never shut up about it. That's what Arsenal do. If they really want a player, then they arrive by the door. Last season, all we ever heard about was Declan Rice and Timber. Obviously, Havertz was a bit of a surprise, but the Declan Rice thing shouted. It was shouting from April last year. We got him. I didn't hear anything about getting a striker in. I heard the rumours, but it didn't come from the club. They were just people guessing. Oh, Osherman's going to come to Arsenal. Oh, Ivan Toney is going to come to Arsenal. And got Gyökeres. Not one once I hear from the club, actually linking us with a player. And the club will do it because they always leak things when they want to keep fans inside. They leaked the Marino thing. They leaked the Calafiori thing. But I didn't hear them leaking about any other player. I heard leaks about players leaving, but I didn't hear anything about the club. And the reason why that hasn't happened, because the person who's on the top of the transfer committee, i.e. Mick Arteta, will not spend any money on a striker unless he's 100% sure that that striker is going to fit into his way of playing and he's going to be the right fit for the football club. Now, I don't agree with that because I do think that Arteta needs to be less stubborn and get us that player he needs. But that's what Mikel's about. He's very strict on the way we play.
Do you know what? You make a good point about with that. We made that substitution when it was 1-1. We should have made that substitution when it was 0-0. Messed about for about 10 minutes there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right, the defensive side of it was fucking awful.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, he takes off Trossard, who, by the way, was absolutely terrible. Anonymous.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that.
Anonymous is doing him, doing a bit of justice. You know what I mean? He was he was criminal, but that's Trossard all the time. Whenever Trossard starts with his football club, he drops the ball anyway. He drops all the balls, but he's brought on a defender. When you look at Martinelli's been out of sorts for me for the last year and a half. But when you talk about raw pace,
yeah, that's what we needed.
You'd have thought you'd have brought him on. Plus, he has got goal threat. His return last season was very bad, but the season before he got 15 goals. So there is goals in the lad, but he didn't do that. We're trying to go for the league. We're trying to get the points, and he brought on a defender to try and shore it up at the end.
It was clear to me after 10 minutes of that we clearly were not getting message from manager to players, because it was headless chickens for 10 minutes. Then we finally settled and we looked a lot better. And I thought, thank goodness for that. Now I'm questioning, thinking, they must do this in training, Lee. You must go, right, when we go down to 10, this is what happens. And you've got to vouch for one of 10, 11 players that could get sent off. If it's a midfield player, this is how we set up. If it's a striker, this is how we set up. Surely that's done. I look like Sunday League out there. I thought, has this never been spoken about ever before? Now, luckily, they got the message across. You see Arteta going mental, so he clearly knew what he had to do. The players didn't have a Scooby. But listen, before we move to the Etihad and Spurs, Lee, I wanted to talk about the squad and what we could have had from the bench, because I was slightly worried from it 3 games in. I'm looking at Ethan Nwaneri, Lewis Skelly and Saladin warming up. I appreciate his injuries. I appreciate Sterling's not ready yet. I appreciate Marino, Tomiyasu and Jesus, along with Sterling, will be on that bench and strengthen it up, no doubt. But should we really have 1 or 2 players out and then 17-year-olds, all 3 of them lining up, ready to wait to come on? I kind of think that's a worry. Now, I understand the players have gone, and I've got nothing against Smith Rowe, Nelson, Eddie and Vieira all leaving. But we've only replaced 2 of them, Lee. Where's the other 2 replacements? I feel we're short, bro.
Yeah, I do think we're short, and we've got the most. The draw didn't go for us in the Champions League. Our next 3 games all away from home, so we play Sunday against Spurs, Thursday against Atalanta. So we're.
Could I just quickly ask, why are we playing on a Thursday night? What's going on there?
I don't know. I think because there's all games, because there's so many games now, aren't there? So over the course of the time, because they put more teams into it. So we got the game against Atalanta on the Thursday night, travelling from Italy back, and then on the Sunday we've got Manchester City. Manchester City playing on the Wednesday at home. Their next 3 games are at home. So by the time we play Manchester City, you can see us being a little bit jaded, boys, and unless you make changes. Well, we can't make those changes now. I've said all along that we was a little bit light up front. Perhaps not so much now. If you look at it and you think, right, 2 players for every position: Sterling, Saka, Jesus, Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli. So that's fair enough. But it's that midfield now. Knowing that Mourinho's there. Now, listen, I expect Jesus on that bench on against Spurs. I expect him to play against Atalanta, and I expect him to be back on the bench against Manchester City. That's his job now. He's as a squad player coming in there, Now, if he's not, I'm looking at them and going like, well, he's not fit. You've got these massive games coming up Like you need to be need to have somebody else in if he's not going to be there. Now we're out with Marino at this moment in time. So against Spurs, Declan Rice we know is going to be rested in that, so he can play against Atalanta and Manchester City. For me, then Thomas Partey and Jorginho play on that, and then Thomas Partey's rested against Atalanta, and then you go in there. And people are going to go, oh, we can't do. That is what you've got to do with a squad of players when you're taking them in and taking them out. Now, ideally, in an ideal world, you want Declan Rice in against Tottenham, and you want him against Manchester City and not Atlanta. But listen, I expect to make changes against Atalanta on that Thursday night and still get something, because this is the midfield, this is the squad that you've backed. I do think that we've backed it for quality. I showed this earlier on, and people will laugh at this lot, but this is the Wolves programme, right? Look how many players Wolves have got more than us, right? Now, they're not even in Europe. We need to strengthen this squad, because we want to go deep in the Champions League. You want to go deep in the league, and you also want to go deep in the cups. I don't think that the squad's strong enough. Now, what you're going to have to do, Dan, and I think it's not a bad thing, is when we play in the League Cup the following week in the Carabao Cup against Bolton, I want to see these youngsters and I want to see them come in and I want to see them perform. And so show me that they are ready, because, Mikel's saying that, that they are, because he's putting them into the squad.
Well, Raya will have to play in the Carabao Cup because the one we signed is cup tied.
Well, we'll play, or Stretford to play, won't he, or whatever his name is.
Stretford, yeah.
Stretford to play, so.
Rather play Raya, I think.
Well, yeah, we might have to. I don't know, but this squad has got to be used, and we're going into the biggest. I think, really, I don't know. You tell me. I think this next 2 weeks. Well, no, it'll be a week, won't it? When we come back, it'll be a week, from the Sunday to. Will define our season. If we draw against Spurs and lose against Manchester City, we'd probably be about 7 or 8 points behind them. End of the game, they don't drop that all in season. It's it's a game. How many wins
in those 2 games we have to pick up 4 points, but we really need six. We have to pick up 4, but we really need 6 in both of them. We've got to beat Man City sooner or later. We've got to be able to go up against them like we did in the 98s and the 2002s, 2004s against United, and come away with wins like Overmars did and like Wiltor did. We've got to do that soon if we're ready to win the league. And do we see that doing that with this side? I don't know if I do. They've strengthened, Man City.
I don't know about you, but I was anxious about being at home on that first Champions League game. When I see away at Spurs, away at Atlanta, and then away at Man City, that's a tough. That's a tough week. That's as tough as it gets, really. You know what I mean? All 3 of them away from home. All Manchester City's games are at home, and you're playing them at the end of it. So
that's the thing. You know what it is, Lee? I know. Man City are in pot 1. We're in pot 2. That's what's done us.
Maybe. What did obviously City were at home and probably Liverpool were at home as well first game, you know what I mean? So listen, it's happened. The draw can be favourable to you. So listen, the Champions League draw, by the way, is quite favourable to us. If I'll be honest, we've done it, Dan. It ain't that bad. But at the end of the day, this week now is, and you're right, Dan. You've got to go to Spurs, and basically win that game and draw at City. That's what we've got to do. That worst scenario now. You know what I mean? It's no good going and losing, drawing to Spurs and then losing to Man City. That's 5 points off of them, plus another 2. That's 7 points. You know what I mean? You ain't catching them. You know what I mean? This is, is really. We needed to go into this international break 9 points. We had to, you know what I mean? So I'll tell you what. This now, this Champions League thing, we ain't going to win it. What you know what I mean? We ain't got a squad big enough to win it. So, for me, the 2 most important games is you go in there and try and beat Spurs, get a point at Atlanta, and try and beat Man City. That's how I'm looking at it,
Look, you go into every game, of course, wanting to win it, but you're right, Lee, in terms of how we're supposed to with all of these competitions, I wanted to go serious in all four. And I think what's deflated me the most is I saw the window and thought, right, it's going to be League and Champions League again, and we're going to throw these bloody domestic cups away again. That's what I think will happen, because he'll be playing the Lewis Skelly's, Salah's and Setford's in goal and all this for Carabao Cup and FA Cup. And I think we'll go out if we get anyone half decent with a team that week. I could be wrong, right? You could look at it the other way and say, well, the squad's so small. I'll come to you with this, Aid, that actually he might just go for all four and see how far we can get in every single one of them. I've no idea, but I was just so down personally, Aid, when I looked at that window. We believe that by getting over the line against Manchester City, who have strengthened and look absolutely electric at the moment, the player we want is the player they got rid of 2 years ago for being crap. Sterling. I don't know if he's good enough, bruv.
Well, we're just short, aren't we? I've not seen that, Lee, that you showed on that program there. That's crazy. You know, how have Wolves got 6-7 more players in their squad and we haven't? Yeah, it's again, it wasn't a great window. You know, we've not brought in the caliber of player or players that you know, to level the whole squad up. You know, I said we'd get Sterling, didn't I, last week? I just had a funny feeling we'd get him. I just hope that he hits the ground running with Arteta and he comes in and does the business for us, because, you know, he's a good player and he just needs to be playing in a team which will suit him at Arsenal, won't it? And hopefully he'll come good. But I agree with you. You know, we've got 3 youngsters coming through who, fingers crossed, will be outstanding for the football club in the future. But with what we've got coming up, you know, we've got to go to Spurs. Okay, we haven't got Rice. And I was thinking about this. You couldn't ask for a better player to come in on big away games to try and control a football match than Jorginho coming in. You know, he's done an outstanding job for Arsenal Football Club, and I think people forget about that away from home and all the times where we would have got beat, where you know, Newcastle, Villa a couple of seasons ago. You know, I'm not so worried with him coming in, but we've also got to get through an international window here, haven't we? We've got games that players might come back injured. I'm just worried that last year we never spoke about injuries because we never got any. You know, what's happened to Moreno? I get it; it's a freak accident, but you know, we're starting to pick up niggly injuries in the wrong areas, and in the wrong areas where we're short. So yeah, we can go back to the window as much as we like. It's been and gone now. It's just tough. We've got
just quickly on them injuries, Ada. I just wanted to come to you on that. Obviously, the Timber one was a freak one as well. The end start of this season. Marino's is a freak. What are we doing in training? Right, hear me out. The last 3 times that we have had injuries to Tomiyasu, Emil Smith-Rowe and Mikel Merino. Mikel Merino got injured by Gabriel falling on top of him in training, right? Tomiyasu got injured by Gabriel falling on top of him in training. Emil Smith-Rowe got injured by Fabio Vieira falling on top of him in training. What the hell are we doing? Are we wrestling here? What is going on here in this training session? How can people? I mean, if Fabio Vieira falls on top of you, it's like a feather faller on top of you. So I don't know how you get injured. But real talk, we've got 3 players injured here long term by people falling on top of him. What the hell are we doing here, man?
I think it's the Martin Keown effect, isn't it? You know, Keown used to train as he played and went through players left, right, and centre. I don't know. I mean, look, we're talking about our team. All teams get it, don't they? And the thing is, they train at such a level now, which is, you know, what match day is, and I get that. It's just frustrating, isn't it, that it's freak injuries, and you know, to get your new signing come in, and you know, he would have come into the midfield, wouldn't he? And now he's not there. We are short, and it's frustrating. And I agree with you. When you got, like, again, I'll say it again, we've got 3 youngsters on the side warming up. When Man City's in town and they've got players warming up, you look at them and going, my God, there's about £300 million worth of talent there, isn't it? So, yeah, it's we can't do anything about it now. We can go on about it as much as we want. It wasn't the best window for the club, but that's why we're sitting here and Arteta's sitting there, which hopefully will be proved wrong. But we've got to remember we had a tough start to the season. Man City have played teams that you know, are not of the caliber of what we're playing at the moment, and we've just got to hope that we can go to Spurs, you know, get a win there and take points from City, because you know we've got to do that now. I agree. We've got to go up to City and we've got to go for it. And we've got to try and win it. And we played really well up there last year and got a point. But we go up there last year and we win the league. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's that fine margins, the small details that Arsenal need to get over the line. We've jumped through so many hurdles in the last 2 years, and we're right up there now. And we're on that final one, and it is just when you get to the top, and Lee will tell you when you're fighting for leagues, it's the fine details. And unfortunately, with the squad that we've got, especially with the away games coming up after the international break, we're going to be stretched. We've just got to hope that all players come through it unscathed in the international break and get through the next 2 games and hopefully get what we need. Because at the end of the day, like Lee said, we could be 5, 6, whatever it is behind. And City normally start the league quite poorly, don't they? They normally kick on in January. So the way they've started so far, I don't know like it's going to happen, is it? They're flying, absolutely flying. No. So we don't know. I mean, maybe we've been a little bit negative, but unfortunately, when you get to the top, and the levels change and what
it's got to be perfection, isn't it? Expectations rises, sort of thing. I get that.
And Dan, that's not beat around a bushy. You've got to be perfection or close to it to beat City.
Absolute facts, bro. Absolute facts. And this is what I mean. Like, people think I'm being negative or harsh when I'm saying we're missing chances, but that matters. That's what gets you winning your titles and doesn't win your titles. We saw last season around December, everyone was telling me, Dan, are we going to get Tony? We need this bloody striker. Everywhere I was going in the Emirates, Dan, who's coming in? Tony in January. And then we get to the summer, it's like, who's coming in? Is it Tony, Osimhen, Gyökeres? Are we going to go and get Isak? And then we don't get one, and everyone's like, I don't know if we need one now. And I think, come on, we do need one. We're relying on. I'll come to you with this, Kenny, lastly, before I ask the last question of the show to you all, right? Kenny, I'm going to say this. We are relying this season on players that are always injured, not being injured. We're relying on Partey not being injured. We're relying on Tomiyasu not being injured. We're relying on Jesus not being injured. We're relying on Zinchenko not being injured because people are telling me he's now an 8 and can play in the 8 now. Now Marino's out. So we're now relying on those guys to not be injured that are always injured. And that's on top of the players that might get injured that aren't always, that are fairly durable in this team as well, like the Sakas of this world, etc. I am really worried that we don't have the squad. Now, you can say that when everyone's fit, it's great, right? And it is. It's good on the bench when everybody's fit. You're always going to get injuries. And I just think, personally, if we would have got another attacking midfielder and a striker, you can allow Havertz to be on the bench and come on, or start and come off for the striker. You can allow for Ødegaard to actually have some cover that isn't a 17-year-old kid. And I just feel like that would have got us across what I thought would have been a fairly decent window, but in fact was quite a poor one, man. So that's my worry, Kenny.
Well, yeah, I fully understand the situation, in terms of that, because you could argue, why was Fabio Vieira allowed to go on loan where there's no cover for Ødegaard? You could say that because, he looks like, although Mikel's played him in the Saka position and tried to play him in 8, he's probably the player that looks more likely to be, he's an understudy. That is a decision that the manager will make. But in saying that, whether we like it or not, this is a squad that we have. Let's not forget we're in the 3rd year of our experience of challenge for the league, and that regardless of whether we got the squad of Man City or not, we have to find a way to challenge. We have to find a way to win the North London derby. We have to find a way to strike a blow, William Tell style, right between the eyes of Man City and make a statement. The players are there. The problem we got is that, the Brighton result is such a kick in the teeth because the expectation is really high. Because I expected us to beat Brighton, really did, because of the style of play that we have at our disposal, and I didn't see anything that scared me when Brighton played Man United. The fact is, we're going to have to, as I said before, find a way. You are going to have to rely on Partey, and you were always going to rely on Partey anyway going into October anyway, because Marino, it would take him time to acclimatise to our way of playing. There's still question marks on what position we're going to play Declan Rice. Is he better in a number 6, or is he better in a number 8? That's still a question we still need to ask ourselves, even though we got Marino. You know what I mean? These are the major issues that we have. You're right about Jesus. I was an advocate in selling the guy and getting someone in, but for some reason, these are questions. It's Mikel's got to be able to sort it out. Mikel's got to be able to get a team out there and try and sort out the issues, sort out the problems we have with putting the ball in there. And that left-hand side, he needs to make a decision on that left-hand side. Is it Timber or is it Calafiori? That, and then when in the attacking left-hand side, who is it? Because he's not happy with Martinelli because he's been trying to replace him for about 18 months. Trossard drops the ball when he starts. There's other aspects as well where, because Trossard hasn't got Martinelli's pace, that kind of doesn't enable our fullbacks to get in those kind of those areas where they can invert or stretch teams. Whilst Martinelli can do that, but he's out of sorts. So he's got to make a decision. If you buy a player, bring a player like Sterling in, I'm sorry. The only time I want to sit here from Sterling is when he's starting games. I don't want players coming here to warm the bench. If he's available, I want him to make that left hand side his own. I want Sterling to play the football he's playing at Man City. That's the only way I'll accept him being at his football club. I don't want passengers at this club. I don't care who you are. I don't want passengers. I've had enough of seeing backup players, at his football club, and then when it comes to getting rid of them, we can't get rid of them because no one wants them because they're not bloody assets. You know what I mean? That has been a theme of Mikel's management, where we've got too many backup players at the club. He's brought in too many backup players. He's brought kids in who are never good enough for Arsenal. And then instead of, putting our hands up and saying, yeah, we got that one wrong, we're having to loan them out because we can't sell them because they're on too much bloody money. And that you can't just say, have a go at Edu. You've got to look at everyone who's on that transfer committee. The people on that transfer committee are Per Mertesacker, Josh Kroenke, Edu, and Mikel Arteta. He's the team manager. He's not the head coach, he's the team manager, which means he has a huge influence on who we get in and who we don't get in. Yes, obviously, he's going to be made aware of the PSR, constraints. Hence the fact that he wasn't he had to get rid of people because of the money we spent more last season. However, it is what it is. He's got to find a way, because I know what Lee says and what you said, Dan. It's going to be very, very, difficult for us to complete at all fronts. Well, we're going to have to, because I'm going to tell you now, Odegaard's won nothing in his career. Gabriel's won nothing. Saliba's won nothing. These players have won nothing. Yes, we talk about them in exalted terms about, we've got the best centre-back partnership in the country, and they're this and that. The only time we're ever going to talk about these players in glowing terms is if they have medals. Find a way.
Yeah,
We've got
guys.
all over the pitch, or it's going to be another season where we're going to have nothing to show for it.
Gabriel's got to look over his shoulder. That's 2 poor games from him now.
Well, you've got. I mean, what's saying? I was going to ask you.
So, okay. What I hear what you're saying, Lee, but why is it that no one's ever looking at Saliba when he makes mistakes? Everyone talks about Galit. Let me get my point across, because you talk about Gabriel in that when Brighton scored that goal. All right, he missed his tackle. But hang on there, Saliba, why are he covering? He was part of that triumvirate of bozos who made that led to that goal. But no one ever talks about Saliba. He's like this finished article. And if you look at Gabriel, I hear what you're saying about him this season. But if you look at our best performing defender in the last 3 years, it's him, not Saliba.
Yeah, but sentiment don't mean nothing, Kenny. You know what I mean? How I see it is Martinelli has a couple of bad games. Bosh dropped. You know what I mean? You've got
Martinelli hasn't. For me, Martinelli hasn't.
No, he hasn't. But he hasn't developed. All I'm saying is that, listen, I'm a big fan of Gabriel, but the last couple of games, I don't think he's been quite at it. You've got players in there now, like Calafiori, all waiting in there that are good. All I'm saying is you pick up your game, pick up your game.
No, I actually agree. I think that goes for everybody. I think the left-hand side, what Kenny's talking about, is the great question now in terms of making a decision. Because, Lee, I'll come to you with this. Just quickly, big up to Suj for the super chat, man. Just dropping this to say big up the panel. I totally appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much. Judges, let me come to you this quickly, but to close, because there's a couple of things I feel that we still need to quickly discuss, and that is the left-hand side that Kenny talks about. There's two decisions there: Trossard, Martinelli, Calafiori, Timber. I personally don't think, might be an unpopular opinion, I don't think Timber's been as outstanding as perhaps I thought he was going to be at left back. I don't think he's been horrendous, by the way, but I don't look at him and go, wow, like I did when I first saw him. Maybe he isn't a left back, maybe he is. I don't know what your thoughts of that are. Trossard and Martinelli needs questioning. And then lastly, and I know I'm throwing everything at you here, but I'm trying to, because we're going to wrap up soon. Raheem Sterling coming in, could he even be crazy enough to play him ahead of Trossard and Martinelli in these games, Lee?
Well, listen, first thing, I totally agree with Timber. As I said, I don't think you should be really going too much about. I thought he'd done okay on Saturday. I thought he's done okay at Villa, but I don't think he's been wow X factor. He's just done a job, like, you know what I mean. And but I think that he'll play there. I think that there's the left hand side still a problem. I think maybe now Zinchenko may come into that eight. I'd definitely give him a go in there, see what he can do, because we've got enough left backs. We don't need him. I think he's surplus to requirements there. When you've got Calafiori, Timber that are playing there, don't forget you've also got Tomiyasu when fit. Sterling, does he come in? Listen, he's not going off on international duty. I don't know if Martinelli is going. Is he going to Brazil? I've not heard. So if he is, maybe there. I think like Trossard, by the way, because of all what went on yesterday, I think has just had a little bit of a pass, because I don't mind all of that, not celebrating and being a little bit spiky, if you like. I love it, but then come in and back it up, boy. And then to put in a performance like that, I don't want to be seeing him not celebrating no more, because that was as poor as a performance as I didn't even know he was playing till he come off. That's how poor it was.
It was poor.
But my argument to that is, and I quickly just throw this back here, isn't it funny that no one who starts on that left-hand side plays well?
Why do we think that is?
It's because we haven't sorted our midfield out.
Yeah, I think it is, I think it
must be. It must be now.
Huge piece of the puzzle since Xhaka's gone that needs to be filled, and we just got to hope Marino is that person. At the end of the day, you've got a left back and a left winger in Martinelli, and Trossard, and whoever plays at left back. But you've got to remember, a lot of our play goes for our middle three, and the link up on the right hand side is outstanding. We know it is with Odegaard, White, and Saka. But when we're going down the left hand side, there's a big gap missing that we don't really talk. We talk about form and players who are out of form. Yes, Trossard had a bad game, and Martinelli's not been in form, but.
Someone just said it in the chat there. They haven't got that link of Odegaard. No. They haven't.
No.
On that left-hand side, they've not got that. You know what I mean? Like that is a great point. It's a great point.
Yeah, and the thing is, we just got to hope. Again, I'll say that Mikel, he comes in and he's the man to do that. I mean, that's what he's been brought in for. Let's be honest, isn't it? So, and it's a shame that he's got injured. But
what do you make of Sterling, Aid? What do you make of that?
Well, you can't. He's 29 years old, so he ain't over the hill. He's still in his prime. He's gone to a club which is absolutely bonkers, by the way. 3 managers and whatever.
Yeah.
And actually, he started the season last year really well for him. And then, the thing is, he's on a lot of money there. And how can you produce a goods in a team that's got, when you're playing one Saturday, and then you sub the next, and then you come on. He needs a run of games. And what better person to have him than Arteta, where he's had him before? See, I don't know why we say. I thought, is it really what we need? Probably not. But actually, is he better than Nelson, who we've let go? Of course he is. And I hope he actually comes in and does the business. The more I think about it, it's a good signing for us, considering what we've let go. And but it's not the Sterling or the Martinelli or whoever plays at fullback. at the moment we've got full back and a left wingers. In the middle here, it's not working, and we need that puzzle needs to be fixed. And I'm hoping in 6-7 weeks' time we'll be talking about Marino's come in and he's done the business for us, because we've said it and I'll say it again. Xhaka has been a massive loss for Arsenal Football Club, and you don't realise actually, how good he actually was for us. A lot of fans are not, I'm no major best coach in the world, but it's about how everyone links up and pulls together as a team to create chances for your side. And at the moment, it's broken down that left-hand side through the middle, because we've got good players out there on the left back and left wing. But we need to fix that part. And I agree with you. When you've got Odegaard the other side and you've got White and Saka, it's a perfect mix, isn't it? So fingers crossed, we can get it sorted quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we need to, and the left-hand side's been an issue at the club. I think we have tried to address that this summer. Calafiori and obviously Marino coming in. It's unfortunate that Marino's now injured. I agree with what Ada said. I actually wanted to keep Granit Xhaka, believe it or not, after handing him out for about 6 years. I wanted to keep Granit Xhaka in the squad, not in the first team. I wanted to keep him in the squad. I thought Declan Rice actually coming in alongside Xhaka would have complemented it. I thought he was pretty trash, to be fair, for the first 6 years of his career, but in the last 12 months he was so good. I thought actually he could have been phenomenal for us in a squad, but obviously we've seen different. He's gone on to win the treble now by Leverkusen. But I will say, like, let's be real, I've got to say, like, I'll come to you quickly on this, Ken. I feel personally like Sterling, there's quite a lot. I'm trying to think of positivity for this signing. And the only two things I've got is he knows the manager well, the manager knows him and loves him well, right? The other thing, though, is he absolutely wants to prove a point to Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea that he's still got it, and in particular Chelsea. And I kind of feel like that could be a positive, that he looks at it now and goes, you think you're going to dump me? Yeah, all right, I'll show you. And when he come out and see this, you'll see the best of me. I'm praying that we see the best of Raheem Sterling, because if we get the Raheem Sterling of 2017-18, we're in for a treat. Let's be real.
No, you've got a good point. I think that was all. I think that's the question a lot of Arsenal fans, football fans in general, will ask. If you ask any football fan, do you think Sterling was a very good player for the national side? He said, yeah. Do you think he's had a good play? He said, yeah. And you think, is he better than some of the players we have at the football club? Oh, yeah, 100%. But I don't think that we ever imagined that Sterling would actually play for our football club. I couldn't see it, but when a player like that becomes available, and you hear Mikel talking about him in very glowing terms, like he did, maybe last week or a couple of weeks ago. The signs were there. The signs were there. When he was left out against Man City, and he was looking for a club, and heard what Mikel said about him, I said, "What, Sterling to Arsenal? Nah." And I thought, I listened to what he said. I said, "Nah, surely he's not going to do it." But that's the situation. The problem we have is that, unfortunately, Martinelli and Trossard aren't playing well.
We talk about the left-hand side. It's a problem and it's broken. It weren't broken when Xhaka was playing for us.
Oh yeah, but you say that, but why was our manager trying to sign Mudryk when Xhaka was at the football club in January 2023? Why was he?
No. I get
he's looking. I'm not. It's not a dig at Martinelli. I know a lot of people think Martinelli is this great player that and that he's potential. The fact is that his performances are stalled even during towards the end of that season. Last season's performance is stalled. He hasn't developed for me from the player who excited me when what's it? Contact that little slip at Stamford Bridge, and he went on like that. For me, there's certain aspects of his game. I don't think he's even not having Xhaka. There's certain aspects of the game I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with the fact that the head's still down. I'm not happy with the fact that he's he doesn't seem to have that turn of pace. He seems to be worked. Defenders are working him out. That's just what I'm saying. The fact is that has opened the door and opened the debate for Sterling. That we are looking at Sterling, because the only reason why the manager's looking at a player like Sterling, everyone seems to mistakenly think that he's there to cover Saka. Well, not too funny. We're in an age of inverted wingers. I don't see right footers playing at the right wing anymore, but I do see right footers playing on the left-hand side, and we do have an issue down the left-hand side. Not just because of the way they play. It's the performances where both Martinelli and Trossard perversely seem to be better off the bench. it seems to be that way, and that's why, you know, we have to. If Sterling's fully fit, we're gonna have to put him in. You know, the money, the fact he's an experienced player, the fact that, you know, that we've brought him in the club. I'll start him. But the remit is, don't come here and thinking that, you know, you're going to earn your pension. Cook for us or get lost.
Fair
Simple.
play. Fair play, man. I like that a lot, man.
Get lost.
Like that a lot. Listen, there's a couple of super chats before we come to football prizes, which Lee's going to talk to you about. Sue says, down the left, our left wingers have not looked good enough since Xhaka left. Basically what Adi had said. And that just happened to be Zinni's best season. Hopefully now we've improved our left backs, and with Marino, that improves the left-hand side. I agree. I think we've tried to improve the left-hand side this window. We haven't seen it yet due to injury and due to players settling in. But for me, would have been nice if we would have got them in a little bit earlier and they don't get injured, but that's just sod's law. And then this one comes in from Sarah as well. Big up. Hope you're well, Sarah. Says, hi, lads. I hope you're well. I'm disappointed with the transfer window. We should have got a striker. And with who we let go, we needed another attacker as well as Sterling. I totally agree with you, Sarah. And that's proved yesterday, in my opinion, when we had nothing from the bench. Somebody that I would absolutely love at Arsenal still is this guy. So, Lee, football prizes are back, mate.
Yes, get him back and get him on the bench, like, for the next 3 games. Just that would do, wouldn't it? Like, you know, but like Arsenal, triple chance, guys, triple chance to win the Dennis Bergkamp signed Arsenal shirt plus 15 instant wins. You know, like, so it's just one competition and there's 3 signed shirts up for grabs. So don't miss this chance to win. It will cost you £3.25, and I do believe it is to Monday, the 2nd of September, which is, I believe, tomorrow, if I'm quite correct. So you've got till tomorrow when it closes. Like, so a chance to win a Dennis Bergkamp signed shirt. Get on it, guys. Chance to win.
Absolutely. Football prizes, might have to put myself in. I've got Bergkamp behind me, but definitely ain't signed. Let me tell you that one now. So
why you got an Henri shirt? Why you got an Henri shirt? Henri's our best ever player, not Dennis.
I got Henri that way. I got Henri behind us there.
Oh, good man, good man.
For me, mate. Bergkamp for me.
Best player. You know the thing. It's an interesting point. If you ask who the best ever player, one of the best ever players to play in the Premiership, Henri gets higher than Bergkamp, but Arsenal, second of Bergkamp. Don't you think it's a bit? It's an interesting debate, isn't it?
Ask Henri who he thinks is the best player.
Exactly that, mate.
He's modest anyway, isn't he? I prefer Vavavoom.
I'm on both right now. I'll tell you that. We'll definitely win that.
Take either, but definitely would have both. That's for sure. Listen, big up to all of you. Make sure you go over to footballprizes.co.uk and check out the Bergkamp shirt for a chance to win. Big up to Kenny Ken for coming on. Make sure you go type Kenny Ken in on Instagram and follow him. Make sure you go do the same for Adrian. And judges, I will let you have the last word, my friend.
Well, what can you say? 2 points dropped. But we go again after the international break. So listen, we'll be back tomorrow with a new show. But if you're going out the weekend, don't worry about the football. Don't worry about the transfer window. And certainly don't worry about Arsenal dropping points because they're not playing. Have a lovely evening.